to our English class. Children, have you ever watched a horse? If not in reality, you might have watched it in picture or televisions. So today we are going to learn a new chapter from the supplementary textbook of class 11 in English. The name of the chapter is Summer of the Beautiful White Horse by William Saroyan. So let's know about the author. William Saroyan, an Armenian-American novelist, playwright, as well as a short story writer. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for drama in 1940, and in 1943 won the Academy Prize Award for the best story for the film The Human Comedy. He was born on 31st August 1908 and he died on 18th May 1981 at the age of 72. Now let's move to the chapter. My dear children, this story is about the two Armenian boys whose hallmarks were trust and honesty. In this, the name of the two boys are Aaron, the narrator of the story, who was just 9 years old, and his cousin Morad, who was 13 years old. One fine morning at 4 a.m., there was a tapping on the window of Aaron, and he was sleeping. So what happened? He just opened the window and he saw that outside the window he saw his cousin Morad riding on a white, beautiful horse. So he was not believing that why his cousin brother had brought a beautiful white horse. There was two reasons of not believing. The first reason was that they were very poor, they can't afford a horse. The second reason is because of the hallmark of their Gregorian family, that they will never steal, they will never tell lie. All those good qualities of the families, the hallmarks, were there in the family. So he was not able to believe whether his cousin brother Morad had stolen the horse or just he had get it from somewhere else. So he asked to confirm. He asked his brother cousin whether he had stolen the horse or not. So when he asked, Morad did not reply it directly. Rather he asked Aaron that if he wanted to come and have a ride on the horse, then he can come along with him. He did not give a correct answer of whether he had stolen the horse or not. Then what happened? Then this Aaron, who was just 9 years old, had a desire to ride on the horse like any other child. If we get the chance to ride on a horse, what we do? We also wanted to ride on a horse, but because of the hallmark of their family, that they were very honest, they never steal. Because of these hallmarks, Aaron was hesitating of going along with Morad. But what happened? Because he was very young, he was 9 years old, he somehow make a justification that stealing a horse for a ride is not at all stealing. So he go along with Morad and had a riding on the white horse. Then what happens? They go on a ride on the horse in the village before the sunrise came. Then this Adam asked his cousin brother Morad whether for how long he had taken this horse. But Morad did not give any answer, but he was very happy that he had a good ride on the horse, and he just kept quiet. One fine day, the real owner of the horse came to Adam's house. His name was John BYRO. He was an Assyrian farmer, and he came there, and what happened? My children, this Adam came to know that the horse with Morad was a stolen horse. of John BYRO's. So what happened? He ran towards Murad, and he asked Murad if he had stolen the horse. And he told also that John BYRO came to his home and told that it was the horse of John BYRO, and now he came to know who was the real owner of the horse. But because of that desire, this desire of the childhood desire that he wanted to ride on a horse, he wanted to learn more from Murad how to ride on a horse, because he was not able to ride on a horse. He don't have that much experience like the Murad. So he wanted to learn much more. So he requested Murad to keep the horse for a year. Then only they can return the horse to the real owner. But Murad said that, he was very crazy boy. Murad said that no, we will return this horse not for a long year, but after 6 months. So on her way, when they were after riding the horse, they met John BYRO. What happened then? Adam was very afraid that on the way John BYRO is coming and we are taking his own horse. But he was very afraid. But Murad was not afraid, because he was able to deal with these kinds of people. Okay, so he was very confident. Then John BYRO came and said, "Hello children, how are you? This horse looks like my horse, but because of your family's hallmarks, that you want stole a horse, or you want tell a lies. This is just the twins of my horse. This is not my horse." So because of that statement, this Adam and Murad had a feeling of guilty that what they had done was a mistake, was a really mistake, because they had stolen, and they had stolen the horse, and this is not really good, and the hallmark of their Gregorian family will be vanished, because their hallmark is trust and honesty. So no one will be trusting in the family of Gregorian tribes. So because of that guiltiness comes into their heart, they have decided to return the horse to their real owner. So this is a story, and in this story we came to know about some of the crazy peoples like Murad, and another character is Uncle KHOSROVE. When this John BYRO came to Arnam's house, then what happened, that Uncle KHOSROVE was there, and when he complained that he had lost his horse, so the reply of Uncle KHOSROVE was, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." So this is the only dialogue he is keeping on telling to the people whenever people say or talk to him or communicate with him. This is the only word he used. It is no harm, pay no attention to it. So when a person came to us and tell our problems, so if some persons gave these kinds of answer, how we feel, beta? How we feel? We feel very sad. So like that only John BYRO was feeling so sad, and he came out of the home and left there. So another incident of KHOSROVE uncle was that one fine day when he was in a salon or barber shop, that time he was sitting very relaxed and trimming his mustache and all. So suddenly his son came, Arad, and told his father that, "Father, our home is on fire." So he was very casual and shouted that, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." So this was his own dialogue. So the barber shop owner, who was cutting and trimming his beard and all, he said that, "Your son is telling that your home is on fire. Your own home is on fire. So, and you are saying that it is no harm, pay no attention to it. What kind of a person you are?" So this statement was given by the barber shop. From this character, we came to know that there are some crazy people in this Garibaldian tribe who are very crazy, who don't want to be, they are careless, they are not much worried about the happenings in the world. So this is the story of two boys who belong to a family whose hallmarks are trust and honesty. इस स्टोरी में मैं ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि इस स्टोरी में दो बच्चे हैं, आरम और मोराद। आरम जो 9 साल का बच्चा होता है और मोराद जो 13 साल का बच्चा होता है, दोनों जो है कजिन्स होते हैं। ये दोनों कजिन्स का जो पहले से बचपन से जो ड्रीम्स था वो घोड़े में सवारी करने का जो ड्रीम्स था। तो अचानक से एक बार जब मोराद घर आता है आरम का, सुबह का 4 बजे जब आते हैं तो नॉक करता है अब उसके विंडो पे, और आरम उठ के खोलता है तो देखता है कि उसके जो कज़िन ब्रदर है मोराद ने क्या लेके आया है, एक घोड़े पे सवारी कर रहा है। तो उसको बिल्कुल भी यकीन नहीं हुआ कि उसका भाई जो है मोराद एक घोड़े पे सवारी कर रहा है। क्यों? कारण ये है कि सबसे फर्स्ट कारण ये है कि वे बहुत गरीब थे। दूसरा कारण ये है कि उनके फैमिली का जो एक हॉलमार्क होता है, पहचान होता है, वो है ट्रस्ट एंड ऑनेस्टी। वे कभी ना चोरी कर सकते हैं, हम लोग ना झूठ बोल सकते हैं, सब जो है उन पे भरोसा करते हैं। तो ये जो फैमिली का जो रीति रिवाज जो उन्होंने पहले कमाया है, उसके पीछे जो है ये बिल्कुल भी यकीन नहीं कर रहा है कि मोराद ने घोड़ा चोरी किया होगा। तो लेकिन क्या होता है ये बच्चे अपने जो डिज़ायर है उसको पूरा करने के लिए क्या करते हैं, मान लेते हैं कि घोड़ा को चोरी करना घुड़सवारी के लिए चोरी नहीं होता। लेकिन अगर आप घोड़ा को चोरी करते हैं फिर उसको जो है बेच देते हैं तो तब जो है उसको चोरी कहलाता है। तो अपने डिज़ायर को फुलफिल करने के लिए देखिए बच्चे, ये दोनों बच्चे ने किस तरीके से जो है, भले ही वो गलत है लेकिन अपने फ़ायदे के लिए जो है उन्हें बताया कि वो चोरी नहीं कहलाएगा और हम लोग चोर नहीं हैं। ठीक है, तो इसमें हमने और एक ये बात भी देखा है कि जो जॉन बायरो होता है वो ट्रू ऑनर होता है घोड़ा का। एक बार ये जो है आरम के घर जाता है और कंप्लेन कर देता है कि उनका घोड़ा चोरी हो गया। लेकिन क्या होता है जब घोड़ा चोरी हो जाता है, जब वो बताता है तो वहाँ में जो बैठा अंकल, आरम का अंकल कोशरोव, ये कहता है कि इसमें कोई इट इज़ नो हार्म, इसमें कोई हार्म नहीं है, आपको इस पर ध्यान नहीं देना चाहिए। तो इस तरह से जवाब मिलता है। तब क्या होता है, तब आरम सुन लेता है। जब आरम सुन लेता है कि ये घोड़ा जो है जॉन बायरो का है, तुरंत वो कहाँ जाता है, मोराद के पास जाता है। अब जब मोराद के पास जाता है तो मोराद बताता है कि उसने जो है उस घोड़े को 1 महीने से ज़्यादा लेके रखा था। तो अब इसको जलन हो रहा था, किसको, आरम को जलन हो रहा है कि उसके जो कज़िन है वो 1 महीना से जो है उस घोड़े पे सवारी कर रहा है। अब क्या होता है, अब ये कहता है, कन्विंस कर रहा है कि अभी जो है आप बिल्कुल भी रिटर्न नहीं करना, आप जो है इस घोड़े को कम से कम 1 साल तक रखिए ताकि मैं भी सीख पाऊँ, क्योंकि मोराद तो 13 इयर्स ओल्ड है और आरम तो सिर्फ केवल 9 इयर्स ओल्ड है। तो अब क्या होता है कि वो बोलता है कि 1 साल भी रखो, 2 साल भी रखो, 10 साल भी रखो, तब भी तुम्हें घुड़सवार करने नहीं आएगा क्योंकि तुम बहुत छोटे हो। तो फिर इतना में क्या होता है कि एक बार जब उन लोग ठहरने जाते हैं घोड़े पे, अर्ली मॉर्निंग उनके डेली रूटीन हो चुका था, तब क्या होता है, सामने से जॉन बायरो आता है। सामने से जॉन बायरो जब आता है तो क्या होता है, उसको देखते हैं कि अरे ये तो मेरे जैसे घोड़े लग रहे हैं। लेकिन उसका जो बिलीफ है उन बच्चों पर, उनका फैमिली पर, वो बिलीफ के वजह से वो बिल्कुल भी शक नहीं किया कि वो जो घोड़ा उनके साथ में है उसी के घोड़ा है। तो उन्होंने क्या किया, बच्चे ये घोड़ा तो एकदम से मेरे घोड़े के जैसे दिख रहे हैं, लेकिन आपके फैमिली के कारण ये घोड़ा मेरा हो ही नहीं सकता, ये घोड़ा तो सिर्फ उसका एक ट्विंस। तो इतना कह के वो चला जाता है। तो ये सुन के दोनों में बहुत रियलाइजेशन आ जाता है, दोनों सोच में पड़ जाते हैं कि देखिए चोरी तो हमने किया है, लेकिन लोग का ये मानना है कि हम कभी ना चोरी कर सकते हैं ना ही झूठ बोल सकते हैं। तो ये सोच के जो है उन लोग जो है इस अपने गलती को सुधारना चाहते थे, इसलिए उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने नेक्स्ट डे ही वो घोड़ा को जॉन बायरो के घर में जाके छोड़ के आ गए। अब उन लोग घोड़ा को घर छोड़ के आ गए, तब जॉन बायरो ने देखा कि उसका घोड़ा वापस आ गया है, लेकिन उसका घोड़ा पहले से ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो गया था और वो एकदम अच्छा हो गया था। मतलब कमांड देते समय जो उसका टेम्पर है वो एकदम कंट्रोल में था। तो ये देख के जो है जॉन बायरो बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हो गया कि उसका खोया वाला जो घोड़ा है वापस उसे मिल गया। अब यहाँ में क्या होता है कि वो जाके वापस दोबारा वो आरम के फैमिली के पास जाता है और बताता है कि मेरा घोड़ा मिल गया है, वो पहले से भी ज़्यादा अच्छा हो गया है। तो इतना में जो है फिर से कौशरव अंकल जवाब देते हैं, इट इज़ नो हार्म, पे नो अटेंशन टू इट। ये कह के जो है हमारा स्टोरी यहीं तक समाप्त होता है। नाउ आई विल डील विद the theme of the chapter. Throughout the short story, Aram and Morad are caught between what they feel and what they know. When Aram first sees Morad riding the white horse, he knows that Morad must have stolen it, as his family is too poor to afford a horse. Yet he feels that this cannot be the case, for his family is always honest. As Aram greatly desired to ride the horse, he began to make justification for why they are not stealing, knowing that he cannot go against his family's honest reputation. Aram and Morad continued to make decisions based on feeling rather than reason, such as why Morad decided that keeping the horse for 6 months isn't stealing, whereas keeping it a year would be. So here are some of the characters in the story. The first one is Aram, second is Morad, third is Uncle KHOSROVE, fourth is John BYRO. Aram is the narrator of the short story. He is a 9-year-old Armenian boy and a member of the Garagolian family who lived in the San Joaquin Valley in California. The Garagolians are poor and cannot afford things like horses, and they are too honest to steal, which leads to Aram's confusion as to why Morad has a white horse in the first place. He had dreamt of riding a horse his entire life, and this desire leads him to justify Morad's action and keep riding a horse that is not his own. Another character is Morad. Morad is Aram's 13-year-old cousin. His family believes that he is crazy and that he has inherited the crazy streak from his uncle KHOSROVE. Nevertheless, Aram admires him for his way with animals and his ability to ride the horse. Morad borrows the horse from John BYRO by himself and keeps it hidden in a barn for over a month, but he eventually allows Aram to ride it too, because he knows Aram longs to ride a horse someday. The next character is Uncle KHOSROVE. KHOSROVE is Aram and Morad's crazy uncle. He is believed to be the father of Morad's spirit. Though Morad is not his direct descendant, he is a tall man who is always angry, impatient and loud. KHOSROVE has a reputation for telling others to stop talking and ordering them to pay no attention. He said this even when his own house was burning. The next character is John BYRO. John BYRO is an Assyrian farmer and a friend of the Garagolian family. Aram discovers that BYRO is the owner of the white horse when he comes to their house and tells Aram's mother that his horse has been stolen. BYRO relied on the horse for transportation. Without it, he had to walk 10 miles with a sore lip to get to Aram's house. In the end, he chooses to believe his heart over his eyes and not accuse Aram and Murad of stealing, though he noticed their horses' striking resemblance to his stolen one. His faith in the boys prompts them to return the horse to him. So here is the analysis of the chapter. In The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse, William Saroyan tells the story of two cousins who dream of riding a horse. When the opportunity arises to do so, however, it is under morally ambiguous circumstances. Murad shows up at Aram's house early in the morning, riding a beautiful white horse, and offers him a ride. Though he knows Murad stole the horse, Aram let his desire to ride the horse override his reason and make justification for why they aren't technically stealing. Aram admires his older cousin Murad, though he is aware that Murad has a reputation for being crazy. Aram longs to be able to ride the white horse as his older cousin does, which leads him to ask Murad to keep the horse long enough for him to learn to ride it. Murad's irrational nature is emphasized through both his resemblance in spirit to his crazy uncle and his connections with nature. He is said repeatedly to have a way with animals, whether horses, birds or dogs. Like these animals, Murad tends to rely on feelings and impulses as opposed to reason. Though Aram does not have a way with animals and exemplified by his inability to ride the horse by himself, he is drawn into Murad's reliance on feeling instead of rationality. The cousins comes from a life of extreme poverty, and Aram has dreamed of riding a horse all his life. They allow their desire to ride the horse to cloud their judgment, though Murad has had the horse for a full month and its owner needs it. They don't consider themselves to be stealing. Quotes from the text. Most important of all, though we are famous for our honesty, we had been famous for our honesty for something like 11 centuries, even when we had been the wealthiest family in what we like to think was the world. We were proud first, honest next, and after that we believe in right and wrong. None of us would take advantage of anybody in the world, let alone steal. The explanation of the quote is, Aram and his cousin Murad come from the Garigolian family, a poor yet honest Armenian family in the San Joaquin Valley in California. These characteristics in the context of the horse Murad is riding are contradictory, as the Garigolian are the poor to afford a horse, yet too honest to steal one. So the moral of the story is, the basic morality is that one should never steal. Through the imagery of Murad stealing the horse, the author tries to portray the macrocosmic effect of stealing. So here are some of the important questions that I have provided for you. The first question is, what traits of Garigolian family are highlighted in the story? Answer is, the Garigolian family, though poor, were famous for their honesty even when they were wealthy. They were proud of their family first, honest next, and after that they believed in right and wrong. None of them would take advantage of anybody in the world. They would not steal. No member of the Garigolian family could be a thief. Now the second question. What conflicting thoughts passed through the narrator's mind on seeing Murad on a beautiful white horse? The answer is, the narrator was surprised to see Murad on a white horse. The horse was magnificent to look at, gave out a lovely smell, and its breathing was quite exciting. He knew that his cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse. Since he couldn't have bought it, he must have stolen it. However, family pride came in the way. He refused to believe that he had stolen it. The next question is, how did the narrator convince himself to enjoy a horse ride with his cousin Morad? The answer is, the narrator thought that stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money, since he and Morad were quite crazy about horses. It wasn't stealing. He convinced himself with the thought that it would become stealing only when they offered to sell it. So they had made a justification about the stealing. Why does the narrator say a man can be the father of his own son's flesh, but that doesn't mean that he is also the father of his spirit? The answer is, the narrator mentions that every family has a crazy streak in it somewhere, and his cousin Morad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak in their tribe. A man by the name KHOSROVE. Uncle KHOSROVE was so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring, "It's no harm, pay no attention to it." The narrator further adds that Morad's father was Zora, who was practical and nothing else. But Morad was a son only in flesh, in spirit. He was similar to Uncle KHOSROVE. The distribution of the various kinds of spirit of their tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. So the next question is, give a brief account of Morad's joyride. Morad kicked his heel into the horse and shouted, "Wazard, run!" The horse stood on its hind legs, snorted and ran forward at full speed. Morad raced the horse across a field of dry grass to an irrigation ditch. He crossed the ditch on the horse. When he returned, 5 minutes later, he was dripping wet. The next question, why did Farmer John BYRO stalk out of the narrator's house, slamming the screen door? The answer is, Farmer John BYRO visited the narrator's house. He was homesick, sad and lonely. His horse had been stolen for over a month. Instead of showing any sympathy or concern for his loss, Uncle KHOSROVE repeated his catchword, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." When John BYRO talked about the cost of horse, Uncle KHOSROVE commented, "I spit on money." This was too much for John BYRO to bear, so he left the house in disgust. The next question is, what did John BYRO observe after studying the horse the two boys had with them? The answer is, the farmer studied the horse eagerly and asked its name. Morad said that they called it "My Heart." John BYRO appreciated it as a lovely name for a lovely horse. He was ready to swear that it was the horse that was stolen from his place many weeks ago. The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. Was his horse if he hadn't known their parents? The fame of their family for honesty was well known to him. So he concluded that the horse was the twin of the horse. The next question is, what induced the boys to return the horse to its owner? The boys were not afraid of anyone or anything. Hence, the return of the horse was not directed by fear. The boys also did not feel the pangs of repentance or remorse at their action of stealing a horse solely for the purpose of riding it. The narrator makes it clear when he asserts that stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. For them, it wasn't stealing at all, as he and Morad were so crazy about horses. In their opinion, it would become stealing only when they offered to sell the horse, which they would never do. Morad had the horse for over a month. When Farmer John BYRO visited the narrator's house, they retained it for 2 weeks more. Morad outrightly rejected the narrator's suggestion of keeping the horse any longer. He decided that the horse must go back to its true owner. The meeting with John BYRO proved conclusive. He praised their family for honesty. He trusted the boys as he knew their parents. Hence, in order to uphold the family tradition and reputation, the boys returned the horse to its rightful owner. So that's all for today's class. Meet you in the next class. Bye-bye.